Hello to everyone, this is Vishal and hope all are doing good. And as I'm making session nowadays related to the new components of the Android, just like live data view model, life cycles, rooms, as I discussed many times, and you can watch on my previous tutorials how these be renders and how we can use it. So today, one of the topic in this session, I will explain to you and how we can use our view model classes as a live data and render these data to show a grid view adapter, that is your custom adapter of the grid view, in which you can show the images just like in most of the our apps we are using, just like in ecom and others. We want to represent some things, so the best source is your image view. So on the image view, how we can use the data binding, as I discussed in my previous tutorials, but how we can make a complete custom view models be as an your grid view adapter, and we can render these data. So these things I will show to you in my tutorials, and today I will explain to you the grid view, and on the same data I will explain you for the recycler view on my second video, the coming video. So that's the things, and you can see the discriminations in these two, how we can make adapters. Once you make these adapters, you always use these adapters uh, in your apps. That means because of the views be the same, everything be the same, you just change the UI on that. So that's the benefit of the MVVM approaches. And one more thing, whenever I see the commands, user commands, so sometimes they confuse about the model and the view model. So I again say that whenever we're talking about the MVVM approaches, your model interacts with the view model, and that view model interacts with your UI. So the same thing, and in a UI, you have to put very less code, only the input and the output type of mechanism, and that means you have to show something or you have to set adapter, and that's the way we have to use. Everything should be in a form of view model and logics inside in the view model. You just render that complete model. So I explained to you how you can render the complete view model as the live data, and you can show it on your activity. So that's the part of the day, and I will also be explain it using the retrofit. So first I am using the static data, then we go for the retrofit calling or my example, and then show to you how we can render the same things. So as you see on my screen, these kind of stuffs we need it in our apps, just like in the above images in which we have to say something. So I explained to you that image with your name, title and description, how we can use these things, and so we need it for that data binding. First we need a data binding for that, then we have a layout for the grid view, layout activity, inner layout, adapter, view model class. First integration is this, and then we, for the remote calling on the second, we have to use the retrofit and the user repository call. So that's the things we have to make here. And one more thing, this is the video for the grid view today, and the same data I will show to you on the recycler view on my second tutorial. That makes the things easy and fun about to making these things. So let us start in on Android Studio. Okay, so let us start in Android Studio. This is our Android Studio, and here what we need first the data binding enable is equals to true as the first foremost thing. We did many times, and your JSON retrofit extensions, view model, live data, Picasso, these implementations on your grid, sorry, on your dependency. So these we have to put it here and just sync it. So on main activity, what we have to do, we have to put here a grid view. So for this we need a grid view. This is your match parent, wrap contents, and this is your ID grid view. Because of we do not want to be the bind this main file. we have to work with the inner layout, so we have to bind that on that case. Okay, so first we have to create a simple steps that we follow always. Number one, we have to create some basics, just like for your remote. We have to put all the remote files be here, and then we have to make a package view model in which we have to put your custom view model, and then we have the package that's your model, and the last is your for the adapter. So we have to put all the adapters be here. Because of here it is a small work, but when you work with the multiple adapters, multiple models, multiple view models, so you need this the separations of all these things. Okay, so these are the grid view. Be ready, and now we have to go for the layout, and this is your inner layout. So we have to work with the inner layout, in which we have to show which kind of representation we want. If you want only images, you just put it the image view, but I want to show you the title, description, then all these stuffs be here. So this is your linear layout, and make it a wrap contents because of show the multiple be here, and this is your background color be your primary. I just want to change this color, so go for the colors, and this color primary you have to click here, and if you want to change it, you just change the color of this. Yeah, that's the fine. I have to choose this, and I want one more color for this is your white. Okay, and I also want to change the color accent be, yeah, that's nice. Okay, so go for the, and this is our color primary, and in which we have to represent the things, and here we need image view, this is your I want to show be the 150 dp and 150 dp. There's some square image like that, and at this time just be okay, just leave it. And here gravity we have to make a center, so these are the center, and this is our text view. In a text view we have to put the match parent, wrap contents, and this is the text in which we have to work, and this text here later we bind it. At this time this is the title, and this your text size be 18 dp, and the margin top be 10 dp, and here if you put the margin be here, so margin be 10 dp for complete, and also we need a gravity with the center. Okay, just copy the text view same as for your the description, and for this description I want to be at the 16 dp. That's enough. So in the design okay, and here we have to make the basic thing. We need a orientation be vertical. Okay, so that's we have, and text color be the white, and uh, text color with the white. So easy. So now the inner layout be ready, and later we bind it. For that we have to come for the model. So for the model we have to make a categories model, because of in my I have to show the different category, just like in your e-com application. If you show the multiple categories of the items, so what to do, you can go for the books, electricity items, likewise that. So that's the category we have to define that. In category I am showing here a public string. This is the ID of that particular value, and this is the public string name, and public string. And I told you that if you want, if your model be small, then you can use it inside your category view model, but it's good if you separate it, or you can access it on your view model. Okay, so this is the ID, name, and the description. Don't give the name, give the title. Okay, and the last is your whatever be your image, so we have to put the image path. That's it. And now we have to make a constructor for this, so generate it for the parameterized first. Sorry, we need all the items. Okay, and one is without parameterized, maybe sometimes we can call it, so it's good to make it, otherwise no need. Okay, so these are our categories, and now in category view model we have to access these categories, so we have to go for the view model. And as per our new architecture, what we have to do, make it a category, and this complete category view model I will get access or put it as in a live data. So see how we can do. This is your category view model, and we always be extends to this as in a view model. Okay, so that's be easy. And now we have to create the constructor for this. Yes, and one more constructor we need it. Here you have to put a categories. What happened here? Categories and categories, and in this we have to pass the values. So there's a different approaches to pass these values. I am showing just a simple approach for you because of some are beginners here, so you can make it. And say this dot, we have to pass the references value. This dot id is your categories dot id, and now copy paste it, and here you can say it, this dot title, this dot description, this dot image path. The same we need it here, title, description, image path. These all be ready. Okay, so first we have get access these two things, be your category to category view model, both the things where you can get directly access also if you do not want to define these values be here. So that is there with the directly approach, you can access the model there. We'll show you in other tutorial. So this is the way we have a we get access our category view model. Now one more thing, because of we have to bind our data, so for that we have two items be here, that is a title and description to bind it there, and also we need a image path values. So for this, what to do, generally we need a binding adapter. So say at bind adapter, and if you watched my previous tutorials I explain how we can access it. So for this you have to go for this app binding adapter, and you have to bind, and in this bind you should just simply say image URL. So you can it can be make your namespace video, and you can make it as a uh, public static void, and this is load image function you have to make, and here this is your image mm, view as an image view, and here you have to make a string, and that is your image URL. Okay, and after getting this image URL we need a Picasso. So okay, so how we can use this Picasso? You just go for the Picasso as a Picasso dot, this is width, and for width I want be the get context of, so this is our image view dot get context, and we have to load something. So for the load we need a image URL, and target, before target I want be some placeholder, so placeholder be okay. For this what to do, let's see any image be here. Okay, download some user PNG images icon. Okay, take anyone be here, like okay, so we'll take it this. Okay, just copy it, leave that, no need of this. Okay, so for this we need this user as a drawable, so go for this the drawable and just put that user, and here you can say this is r dot drawable. Okay, it just want with the r as an import, alt enter, and this is your, yes, drawable dot user. So you can see that be here. So the Picasso be ready here, and the image URL we bind it, and one more thing, we have to get that URL, so you can say it is a public, uh, if you want to get the image, so you can say it image URL, that's it, and return your image path. Okay, so these things be ready, the second step be ready, our image path. Now we have to go for the inner layout where we have to find our data. So for this what we have to do, you just create a simple layout, and now we have the same data approaches, and here you can say the class be your category binding. Okay, and put this layout be as an parent layout, and the last mm, be here. Okay, so everything is fine, and now we have to put this namespace be here. Okay, so the things be ready. Now we have to go for the variable be your category model, and here you can say the com dot example dot admin dot first dot view model dot category view model. So that's it. Okay. Yeah, now we have to go for our binding. So the for binding approach, what to do, you have to make at the rate, and this is your category model dot, you can say that's your title be here. And if you want to go with add, and this is your category model dot your description be here. So these to be ready. And now for the image, what to do for the image view, we have to make this namespace of so you can get that image value be here. So for that we need app image URL. So you can don't use this bind, okay, and say alt enter, and it automatically be create for that namespace for you. And this is your bracket add, and the same thing you have to make a copy dot, and whatever be your image URL, you just go for that image URL. Okay, so the binding adapter be ready, text view be ready, so all the binds data be here. Now the question arises how we can make this category view model be as a mutable live data. So we have to focus on that, how we can make this as a public mutable live data. So say public mutable live data, because of I want to get access these things directly to the from the server, but at this time I'm just showing the local static values to you. So for this mutable live data, we have an array list, and this array list we need a category view model, and give the name as in a category, or okay, you just make it as an array list mutable live data. This is the new mutable live data. Okay, so that's the thing. And now we have to create the function for this that is called a getter. So if you go for this, you can see this is the getter function for you. So we have to return these things be here. But I'm just showing to you how the JSON works. But before JSON, how the small things be works here. That means how we can put the data as in a categories wise. So for that, we need a separate array list as in a category view model, and I'm giving the name be here category view models. Okay, this is our array list, and you can say it the category view model as in a new array list. That's it. Now that means this is your array list to get it from the JSON. Okay, and now we have to put that resource as in your categories. So categories be like you can make categories be as in your ID be 1, and your title be your title 1, and uh, the third is your description. So that is this is description we have, and the last one is your image path. Just say at this time image 1.png, or we will later we change it. At this time just pass it. Okay, so these are our categories be here, and now we have to go for the category view model. So for that, maybe a separate category view model, we have a category view model and new category view model, but we have to insert these categories because of on the parameters we have to pass these categories be there. Okay, so these things be ready, and now we have to put this thing in your array list. So the array list is your category view models dot add and in this add you have to put this category view model. That means the complete scene be as the array list of the category view model. And now we have to set the values. We have to set the values for what? We have to set the values for the array list mutable live data dot set value, and that set value be your as a complete category view model. So that means it becomes your category array list, so you can put that and represent it anywhere. Okay, so that's the scene we have to use for our category view model. And for main activity, okay, for the main activity we have to call this category view model. So for this we have to say private category view model. We need it, yes, we need it, category view model. Okay, and category view model be as in the view model providers. So view model providers dot of we need for this, and dot that is to get, and this is the get value, and this get value that means category view model dot class, which view model you want it here. So see, the separation is, see here, the everything should be inside your view model. You put it that complete view model, only main activity you have to just call it and put our values on our whatever be on a grid view, recycle view, or a thing. Okay, and for this category view model dot get array list mutable live data dot observe, you have to observe these things be here. So this comma new observer array list. So that means whatever be changes there on your view model, you can get the data be here. That's a rule of your view model class. Okay, and this is your white show data. So this is your white show toast. So you can make a toast, a custom toast be here, and in this toast you have to make a toast, create a new toast, and so you can check the size be here, and this is your string message, and you can make it as a message. Okay, and this is your show toast, and in this show toast you say category view models dot size. Okay, so that's the way main activity be ready, category view model be ready, in which we have to show our data or render the data, and categories be ready. Now at this time, without retrofit, I will call these things. For that we need a main thing, that is our custom adapter. Custom adapter. So for this we have to extend the base adapter, and alt enter implement methods, all the things be there in this adapter. We just bind this adapter here. So for this what we need, the first we have to work with our private array list. This is your category view model, and this is your array list as in okay, just leave it. Okay, so these things, and next is your public category. Okay, get count for that. Okay, context, because of on which reference we need it. So for that we need a context be here. And one more thing we need it, make it a private, no need of to make it a public. Okay, category binding. So you see here, sometimes it happen, it never show the data class value be here, as it is a data category binding be here. Okay, so for that you have to go for the rebuild project once, so it can implement a class for you, and then you can get access that class on your adapter. Okay, till it running, I'm making get count be here, and that get count be your array list dot size, and get item be here, so get item be your array list dot get, and this is your position. Okay, and now we have to work with this get item id be leave it, and we have to work with this get view now. So once it compile, we work on that. So this is your convert view is equals to null. If it is null, so what happen? And else. Okay, so this is the condition in which our category binding be works. So let's see. Okay, so these are convert view null and else conditions. Now we have to check it as a private, whether it create our class or not. Yeah, you can see that is a category binding. So this is the class category binding by which we can get the data. That means we have to bind our data. So we can go for our convert view and say as in the layout inflator dot from. So that means we need a context. So for this context, what we have to do, we have to make a public custom adapter, and in which we have to say context be the context, and your array list of your category, which we have to pass category view model, and this is your array list, and you can say this dot array list as in the array list, and this dot your context be as a context. So these things be ready, and okay, and now we have to inflate r dot layout, alt enter, layout dot inner layout. This is our null, root is null. So this is our convert view, and we have to work with the category binding because of no need to take old approaches to taking a text, because of we have take the advantage of the data binding be here. So this is our data binding util dot, and what we need to bind, what we have to bind our convert view. Okay, so once you bind your convert view on category binding, you just say convert view dot set tag as the category binding. Okay, so this is our first time convert view if it is null. Now if it is some values or be the on the second render or whatever be, so you go for the category binding and say category binding typecast be as a convert view dot get tag. Okay, uh, that's easy. And now the last is category binding dot, we have to set our model. So whenever you have to set our model, that means you can say category sorry, this is your array list dot get, and this is your position. On the particular position it set your values, that's it. And the last is this is your category binding dot get root. So our custom adapter be ready here, in which we have to pass the context and the array list. So the same thing be used in your main activity, and here you can say that private custom adapter be custom adapter, and that custom adapter what we need it, we need it here. So you can say custom adapter is equals to new custom adapter, and this is your main activity dot this comma your what is this is your category models. That means you have to pass this data be here, and this is your grid view. Is it? No. Okay. uh, Take the grid view be here, private grid view as a grid view. And if you want to be this page also be the binding, if you want to show something binding, you can work on that also, but here no need of the binding be here, so I'm just using the value r dot id dot grid view. That's it. Yeah. Okay. And this is a grid view dot set adapter custom adapter. Let's see what happen. And once it's run, then we go for the retrofit. That means our remote calling, and then we run the JSON and then get the data from that JSON. Okay. Okay. So let's see what happened in it. Yeah. So you can see that there is a title, this is a description, and the image be there. Because of at this time there is no image, such a image, so it's a default placeholder. It's working on that, and I will show you. See, if we use, maybe you get the two data of a categories from the server. I will show you by the retrofit, but you can see it here first how it works. So that is the one, and category is 1, and this is a 2 and title 2, and this is the description 2. But I want be the data in a form of a number of columns be 2, so we can see that number of columns 2. Okay. And one more thing, let's check it whether it is be a, so you can also be, you have to put this, copy paste, model be here as in the 1. So that means here, if you see that just multiple models be here, the array list of the multiple models be there, you can get it from the server side, and you just put it and then show that or render that on your grid view or your recycle view. That's it. So today I'm showing the grid view. On the next video you will see the recycler view or the card view. So let's see what happened in it. Okay, so let's see this answer. Yeah. So you can see that there is the title 1, this is description, title 2, this is description. And now we have to talk about these images, because of at this time it is a static data, so I have to render the images from my local host. So we'll show you that there is a JSON name records, and in this records we have to work, and there be the in this records we have a multiple categories, just like the books, fashion, and others, electronics. So we have to put I mean we have to get access these things, and also with the PNGs or JPGs in your grid view. Okay, so let's start it. And for this, what we have to do, some simple steps we have to work on that. Number one, the remote. Under the remote, first we go for the retrofit. So retrofit is for your API interface we have to create for that. Okay, so for this we need a new Java class and give API service, and in this API service what we have to do, you just make it as first interface. Okay, and now in this interface, what we need first, that means we have to get the data. Where is our data? Our data is at an location coupons read.php. So this is our data. Okay, and for this, what we have to do, we need at get, that is the retrofit, and alt enter, and this is your path. So you just copy that path, whatever be the path, and you have to call, and that the call is for your, you have to make a category, that means a array list for that, because of we need as an JSON data, so we have to fetch that. So it's good you make a category list, so we can fetch it and get category list. So this is our function. Okay, and now we have to make this, create a class category list under the remote. That's good. I love Android because of lot of things become very easy in it. Okay, so class category list, what we have to do, you have to serialized name, and that names be your records. I think I described these things already to you, how we can get access, get and post both, and this is your and serialized name be records, and here you can say that this is your private array list, and that array list be in a form of categories, and that categories be as in a categories, a new category, a new array list. Okay, so that's, and if you want to go with the your generate getter setter, you just make it, if you want with the get categories be there. So that's the way you can get access this category list. Okay, and say alt enter, so import it, and that's the way we have to work with this category list. That means the same name JSON we have to call here. This is your records. Okay, so for this we have a ID, name, description, and image path that you need to be serialized. So that's already we have done. Like here, you just go for that serialized ID, name, description, and image path. So that once it's serialized, we can just call it, and then it automatically be get access to that particular value. Okay, so leave it. I think this already described many times. If you new, you can watch the previous tutorials of the retrofit, and this is the Java, and here I have to create a retro class, and in this retro class what we have to do, you just simply create first your, where you have to strike your path be your private, and static, this is the final, and that final is string, and that string be your base URL, and that is be 192 on my local host. It's working on 192.168.157.2. So you can see your RP config and can check whatever be your, and if you use the slash here, so don't use the slash on the API service uh, here, and if you, because of it become double slashes. Okay, so maybe by mistake you can do that. So this is the way, and now you have to create a retrofit instance for a class, so that is a private static, and that is your retrofit. And that retrofit be alt enter get retro instance. And in this retro instance we have to return a new, that is your retrofit dot builder dot, that means we have to return that builder, and this is your base URL, and this is the base URL. You have to pass under that, and what we need it after the base URL, that means you need a add converter factory. I think many times we use it, and if you use the RX Java, then attach that add this RX Java also be in it, but I'm not using that at this time. I will explain you on my other, and if you want to see that how we can use, you can see the RX Java retrofit tutorial. Okay, so this is your JSON converter factory dot create, and that is your build. So everything is fine, but sometimes what happen that there is the some issues when you get the data as in a string format or the other format. So for that, you just I these things I already described, that you can just put JSON and this is your new JSON, and that JSON builder we need it. Okay, and that builder, what happen, it create a set lenient always, and that is your create. Okay, so once this lenient form be create, you can just pass it here, that is inside your JSON. So everything is fine. So retro, and now we have to call, not directly call this instance, we have to create a public static API service and get API mm, service. Okay, and here you have to return a get retro instance dot create API service dot class. So that means that API service we can call it by this instances anywhere. Okay, and the last thing that is important, we need a user repository or your data manager class. Both the things be the same, and in this repository we have to get this data, and this is your public user repository in simple. Okay, and this user repository, what we have to do, you just get this data as an a mutable live data, and this is a array list, and that array list be sorry at array list be a kind of category view model. Okay, and this model we have to make it as an a data is equals to new mutable live data. So this is our data, we have to get access. For this we have to make a getter for that. So when you see that public, you can see this is the get data function. That means it return your data be here. So we have to work on this data. And for this what we need, we just use the same funda as we done on the category view model. Okay, so first we have to hide this because of we have to get data from the user repository, so no need of this get data, but the function is same because of the we have to call this function, and this function we get the data mutable live data under that function, and that update on your uh, main activity site. Okay, so this is mutable, and here what we need it first, we have to restore this value in a form of category items. So for you have to uh, use that uh, private array list. This is your category and this name is items. Okay, so that means first these items be stored here. So for this we need to call the our retrofit calling. So retrofit call, we need a API service, and that API service we work with your retro class, and that retro class get API service. Okay, and whenever you call this API service, and okay, so for this you have to call directly. So call what we needed, you needed a category list, and alt enter, and that is your list call, and that list call be works as a API service dot get category list. Just simple. And for this you have to create your enqueue and category list call dot enqueue as your new what we have a callbacks, and simple callbacks be here. So easy. So that means you get your response as in the body. So that means you this is our items, and the items be as in the form of categories, and our response be in the form of categories. So we get that response dot body dot get categories. Here we can get that data from the response site. Okay, if it get access, and here you have to work with the categories, because of we have to make these categories just in a loop and then put that data the same thing as we did it there. And also we need a category view model. And okay, so first we have to put this loop, and the I is less than your items dot size, and this is your I plus plus. And in this what we have to do, you just create your categories, be new categories, and in this categories you have to put that items dot get I dot id. Okay, and the same thing you have to make, we have a four items be there, id, name, description, and what is image path. Okay, so these be the four items be there. So you need a title, description, and your image path. Here actually I don't want to go with that image path directly here, but I have to provide the link, otherwise you have to create the static link there on the static URL and then get access. Because of a single link you can change there, this is not the right way, but I am using because of at this time it is a small product. So the image is your HTTP, and whatever be your path, we can check it. Yeah, these are our images. So and here I want to use this 192, what is our, yeah, retro class. Okay, and this is HTTP. Okay, so this is the path by which we can get access our categories. So easy. And now in a category view model, we have to put these things be here. So this your category view model is in a new category view model, and here you can put your categories because our constructor is a kind of categories as showed to you. And now the last thing is this complete category view model become a array list. So for that we need one more array list, that is a kind of category view model array list. So this is a array list, and that is a category view model kind of array list in which we have to put category view models, and we have to add this data be here. So that means this is our new array list, and we have to put this data here. So that means whenever it works, whenever we need these categories, dot add, and this is your category view model. So that's all the category model be here, and we have to set this data. So out the loop we have to say that data dot set value, this is your category view models. So also data be set here, the same thing, the same funda be apply be here as an account. Here we have set values here, and there we have to set values from the server side, from the retrofit. Okay, so the things be ready, and now we have to call this function in your category view model. So for this what we need, you just call a private user repository, and that user repository be as a new user repository, and you need that data as an array list live data. So that is a user repository dot get data. So whenever you call this, you can call the data and you get the data be on your get array mutable live data, and you can get access it on your main activity. The same thing, no need to change it, it's be there. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Okay, so let's see what happened. Yeah, so this is the way you can get access the things. That's our data be here. So this is the grid view example, and the next video will describe to you that how we can use the recycler or the cart view on your implementation, so you can create these kind of adapters. Once you set the adapters, you can use it. So that's an important how we can get the complete your custom view model as in a mutable live data and get access anywhere. So it's easy, and we can get access these things easily. Okay, so we'll discuss it, the next video will describe you the same but recycler view. So thank you so much for the day. We have to wind this now. Thanks.